كندا ان ذا وورد اختارت رئيس وزراء كندا جاستن تريدو شخصية العام 2022. طبعا جاستن تريدو معروف قد ايه هو موجود بقلب كل المهاجرين العرب الموجودين بكندا. هو قريب كتير منهم، بعيدهم، بيفهم لغتهم، واهم شيء بيقولوا جاستن تريدو على الاعياد الطائفة الاسلامية. السلام عليكم.
Assalamu alaikum. Today, Muslims in Canada and around the world will celebrate Eid al-Fitr and mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan, a month of fasting, spiritual reflection, and service to those less fortunate. Assalamu alaikum. Hello everyone. Bonjour à tous. Today, Muslims in Canada and around the world will mark the end of the Hajj and celebrate Eid al-Adha. This is a moment for prayer, sharing, sacrifice, and compassion. Merry Christmas, everyone. Like millions of Canadians, my family is excited to gather around the Christmas tree and spend some quality time together. It's a time of year when things slow down a little bit, when Christmas movies, including Die Hard, are on repeat, when some of us keep an ear out for the sound of reindeer on the roof, and when we all take a moment to appreciate those who make our lives special. This year, I'm thinking of Canadians who go the extra mile to make our country a better place. I'm thinking of members of the Canadian Armed Forces who are protecting our country and the values we share. I'm thinking of the doctors, nurses, and first responders who'll be working throughout the holidays. I'm thinking of everyday Canadians who find ways to show up for their friends and neighbors. 2022 was a challenging year, and for many, this holiday season won't be easy. But I'm confident that Canadians will continue to be there for each other in 2023 because that's just who we are. We show up for each other, and when times are tough, we stand together. We've been through a lot as a country, but through it all, Canadians have demonstrated the true meaning of generosity, kindness, and hope.
جاستن تريدو هو رئيس وزراء كندا وزعيم الحزب الليبرالي الكندي. يعرف عن جاستن تريدو انفتاحه السياسي وتعاطفه مع المهاجرين العرب، وبيتمتع تريدو بشخصية وشعبية واسعة كتير، كما أنه شخصية عالمية بحكم موقع بلاده الهام في الاقتصاد العالمي.
God, I just can't believe I'm getting. People. Someone asked me last night if I was nervous about today. I'm impatient. I mean, we've had 2 weeks of preparations and sort of getting things into place, and now finally we get to work, which is going to be fun. But to do it surrounded by people the way we got elected is the right thing. Wonderful to see you all today. Mr. President, it's an honor to welcome you to Parliament. On behalf of all Canadians, welcome to our House. Before we begin, I would like to ask everyone here today to join in a moment of silence in memory of those killed and injured in yesterday's attack in Istanbul.
بعد استطلاع شمل تقارب 4000 شخص بكندا، طبعا كندا ان ذا وورد تختار رئيس وزراء كندا جاستن تريدو شخصية العام للعام 2022. جاستن تريدو لمع نجمه محليا وعالميا فور وصوله إلى السلطة عام 2015 من خلال تعامله مع كثير من الملفات بطريقة ساحرة وديمقراطية لافتة. جاستن تريدو كان قريب جدا من الشعب الكندي أثناء قيود كورونا، الذي استمر بتقديم طبعا المساعدات للشعب الكندي أسابيع وشهور وسنوات. ونحن نعتبر في كندا أن زورد أن جاستن تريدو يستحق جائزة نوبل للسلام في العالم لإنجازاته الاستثنائية. هو يتحدث إلى الشعب الكندي من القلب إلى القلب، ويقارن اليوم بكبار القادة في العالم، لأنه مثال يحتذى به للإنسانية ومقياسا للوطنية والنزاهة والضمير. سواء كنت قلقا بشأن عملك أو حياتك فنحن هنا لدعمك. هذه الكلمات يرددها دائما، يتحدث بها رئيس وزراء كندا جاستن تريدو مع الشعب الكندي، خصوصا في الأيام الصعبة. من أهم صفاته هي التواضع بكل ما تحمل هذه الكلمة من معنى. نراه في كندا يمشي في الشارع لوحده من دون حراسة أمنية، يدخل المحلات والمطاعم وحتى المترو، يتحدث إلى الناس كبارا وصغارا، يتصور معهم من دون بروتوكولات أو قيود.
Congratulations. All three of us? Of course. Thank you.
يستمع إلى مشاكلهم بكل صدق ومحبة وإخلاص. هو رجل استثنائي بامتياز، يهتم كثيرا بالفقراء والمرضى وحاجات الناس، ولطالما جمع الأموال لعلاج الأطفال والمساكين. هو محب للسياسة والسلام، وأيضا محب لعائلته، واعدا بمساعدة كل من لديه عائلة. جاستن تريدو لا يؤمن بالاختلافات العرقية واللغوية والدينية، وشخصيته تتحدث عن نفسها من خلال أعماله المشرقة. ففي وقت قياسي أثبت أنه على درجة عالية من النضج السياسي والاجتماعي والاقتصادي، يتحدث بالمنطق والعدل، وأكثر ما يرفع أسهم تريدو بشكل كبير أعماله التطوعية ومشاركته الرياضية كملاكم، ودعواته الدائمة للتسامح الديني ومناهضة التطرف والعنصرية. كل ذلك جعل منه شخصية محبوبة لدى الكنديين على اختلاف أعراقهم وأديانهم، ويقارن اليوم بكبار القادة في العالم، وأصبح مثالا يحتذى به للإنسانية ومقياسا للوطنية والنزاهة والضمير والوجدان والعنفوان. يضع الخطط بسرعة فائقة لمواجهة التحديات الطارئة، يطمئن الشعب الكندي على مستقبلهم ويضمن لهم حياة كريمة مهما زادت التحديات والأعباء. فهنيئا لكندا وللشعب الكندي بالرئيس جاستن تريدو، الشاب الواعد الطموح الذي يتفانى في خدمة الإنسان والإنسانية من أجل الوصول بكندا إلى أرقى الدول على كافة المستويات والأصعدة. طبعا جاستن تريدو رئيس وزراء كندا هو الذي فاز بولاية ثانية مدتها 4 سنوات في العام 2019 احتفلت بفوزه أكثرية الإثنيات والجاليات العربية في كندا والعالم، لأن برنامجه الانتخابي يمثل آمالهم وطموحاتهم، وهذا البرنامج هو ضمان مستقبلهم على كافة الأصعدة، خصوصاً إلى ما حققه مع حزبه من إنجازات على صعيد مكافحة الفقر. ومنذ صعود رئيس الوزراء الكندي جاستن تريدو إلى السلطة عام 2015 لمع نجمه محليا وعالميا من خلال تعامله مع كثير من الملفات بطريقة ساحرة وديمقراطية لافتة.
Question from Lily, will I ever bring back the beard? Hey everyone, every year around the end of the year I do a lot of media interviews to talk about the year that was and talk about how we're looking forward to the future. They had a lot of questions, but I wanted to hear from you. So I asked you to send in questions you had for me, and you didn't disappoint. We got thousands of questions in. My team gathered a whole whack of them, put them in this bowl, and I'm looking forward to getting to as many of them as I can. Thanks very much, and I'll dive in. From Shadiksvri, what help can the government give people planning to buy their first home? That's a great question, and one that a lot of people are asking. We actually put forward some really big measures in our last budget on that. The first thing we did was create a $40,000 tax-free savings account just so you can save up for your first home. That's tax-free on the way into the account, tax-free when you pull it out of the account. One of the other things we're doing is cracking down on the unfair practices that we've seen in the real estate market, whether it was blind bidding, whether it's non-resident foreign buyers getting into the market. And the third thing we're doing is we're sending about $4 billion to municipalities so that they can accelerate the processes around building homes, whether that's greater density, accelerated building permits. Different cities and towns have different requirements, but those are things that we're stepping up on so that we can accelerate and double the amount of new housing being built over the next 10 years. When is the childcare fee reducing? Been waiting on it for 8 months. Well, that really depends on what part of the country you're in. But I can tell you that fee reduction is supposed to be in before December 31st of this year. The deal we signed with all provinces said a 50% average reduction this year for all provinces except Quebec, that's already down at $8.50 a day, as all other provinces go towards $10 a day in the coming years. Wherever you are in the country, you should see your childcare fees reduced by half before the end of this year. If that's not happening, not only will you be asking questions of your provincial government, whichever government that is, but we will be asking questions of that provincial government because we sent billions of dollars to make affordable childcare a reality across the country to all provinces, and they have to meet those targets for you, for your family, and for families across the country. Will I ever bring back the beard? For many of us, including me, the beard is associated with a very tough time of lockdowns and pandemic, and I really hope I don't bring it back. Besides, the beard was almost completely white. My kids felt it made me too old looking, so I'm glad to be back and clean shaven. I got a question on gun control in French asking if we were going to revoke or pull back C-21. The answer is no. C-21 is part of our commitment to Canadians to move forward on strengthening gun control in smart, responsible ways. We have frozen the market on handguns. It's now impossible to buy or sell a handgun in this country. We've moved forward on a ban on assault-style weapons that's been in place for 2 years, and we're making sure with C-21 that assault weapons will never be legal again in this country. The issue that's come up for a lot of people, and I suspect Eric, who sent in the question, is that there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation from the Conservative Party and from the gun lobby about us going after hunting rifles and shotguns. The reality is we're focused on banning the most dangerous weapons, those assault-style weapons that were designed to kill the largest number of people as quickly and efficiently as possible. From Pablo Pete, what are you reading at the moment? I'm reading The Berlin Diary by William L. Shirer. I've been reading a whole bunch of different things. One of the latest books I read was Michelle Good's Five Little Indians. I just finished, which is a big holiday read I recommend for a whole bunch of people, the latest Stephen King, which is called Fairy Tale, and it's phenomenal. Also reading a series by Ian Hamilton called the Ava Lee series, which is about a Chinese-Canadian forensic accountant ninja. There's so many good books out there. I sort of balance between responsible books I read for work and just books that allow me to kick back and enjoy a good story. I think we need more supports at home. As much as I think people need to be helped all over the world, we have a lot of homeless and low middle income people who just can't keep up with the ever rising costs of everything. It's getting worse with no clear solution. Do you have one? In 2015, we made a promise to focus on the middle class and people working hard to join it. And that's exactly what we did going forward, because we took over from a Conservative Party that still believed, and actually sort of still believes, in the trickle-down theory, that if you give tax breaks and advantages to the wealthiest, to those who've been successful in the economy, well, they will turn around and create jobs and economic growth for everyone. It's a nice idea if it worked, but it doesn't. What we've done over the past 7 years is actually put more money in the pockets of people who need it, with things like a Canada Child Benefit that stopped sending checks to millionaire families and focused more money on the families that actually needed it, and lifted close to 500,000 kids out of poverty. We're doing the same around seniors, we're doing the same with youth. We're looking at the Canada Workers Benefit, which is increasing this year to make sure that people who have low-income jobs, working minimum wage perhaps, get a top-up to reward them for continuing to be in the workforce and not falling onto provincial income supports, for example. These are things we're doing to stay focused on people who actually need it. That focus on creating success happens when you invest in supports for everyone. But the other part of your question was, why not focus everything on helping people at home and not people around the world? Because there's so many people who need help at home. I agree, and the most part of what we're doing is at home. But we also learned from the pandemic, from the global inflation crisis, from the war in Ukraine, the problems we have at home are related to problems going on around the world. Investing in supports for Africa, investing in climate resilience in South America, getting rid of plastic pollution and building better infrastructure in Asia are things that are going to benefit Canadians in indirect and direct ways. So yes, Canada is incredibly fortunate to be able to help out around the world, and we need to, even as we support people at home.
طبعا انجازات رئيس وزراء كندا متعدده جدا ما فينا نحصيها بكلمات، بس بالنهايه بنقول نحن بنفتخر كثير بك جاستن تريدو رئيس وزراء كندا، لانك تقوم بعمل عظيم جدا. نحن محظوظين للغايه لانكم رئيس وزراء كندا. نقدر كل ما تفعله من اجلنا، من اجل وضع الكنديين اولا في أول اهتماماتك وتفكير بنا جميعا، خصوصي بالأوقات كتير الصعبة. أنت تمثل جيل الشباب الرائع الذي نفتخر فيه دوما، خصوصا لجهة سن المشاريع على صعيد مكافحة الفقر وتوفير فرص العمل وترسيخ العلاقات مع السكان الأصليين، إضافة إلى الاستقبال الحافل الذي تقوم به مع اللاجئين ورفض الانقسام. بس بدي أقول جاستن تريدو أنا عشت بكندا وأعرف أهمية هذا البلد الجميل لجهة الحقوق والواجبات وواجبات الدولة تجاه المواطن الكندي وواجبات المواطن تجاه الدولة. وأعتبر كندا بلدي الثاني ولها في قلبي وعقلي حبا كبيرا، فهي حققت أحلامي وأعطتني الأمان والعيش الكريم. طبعا نحن بهذه المناسبة في كتير لبنانيين كنديين قدموا التهاني لرئيس وزراء كندا جاستن تريدو لاختيارنا له لشخصية العام، وخصوصي هاد اللبنانيين بيحملون الجنسية الكندية كتير بيقدروا الخطوات والإجراءات اللي عاملها، خصوصا بوقت كوفيد، وخصوصي كل الأعمال اللي قامت فيه الحكومة الكندية من أجل سلامة الكنديين. واصفين جاستن تريدو بأنه رجل لكل المراحل، هو قريب لجميع الجاليات العربية وهو صديق لجميع العرب.